When I say he was my glue, he was my glue. I have had many dogs in my lifetime, but I have never had a dog like Moose. Can't explain it, but I've never had a dog like Moose.
I'm Phil Hatterman, and you're listening to Dog Words, presented by Rosie Fund. Tricia Montgomery channeled grief and love into a passion that's saving lives and giving dog owners the knowledge they need to give their beloved pets the best life possible. Visit the Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement at aplb.org to learn more about resources to help with one of life's most challenging transitions, and go to moosesmarch.com, moosesmarch.com, to learn about the Moose-approved badges for consumers and how you can partner as a vendor. Perhaps most importantly, you can access education, awareness, and early cancer detection tests for dogs. Links for these websites are in the episode description. I know we ask a lot from our Dog Words listeners: donate, volunteer, subscribe, share. Today I'm making a special plea for you to share. Not just all the great videos we post of these wonderful dogs, but this specific episode. Whatever podcast platform you're using, there's a button that allows you to pass along Tricia's important message. Everyone needs to hear it. And I have one more favor to ask. Share a second episode with that person, not just this one. Browse our archives for an episode that you think they would particularly enjoy. Our guest list includes fiction and nonfiction authors, entrepreneurs, researchers, veterinarians, animal welfare advocates, dear friends, and more. If you enjoy Dog Words, let others know. If you're new to Dog Words, in each episode we explore the world of dog care and companionship. We save each other is the motto of Rosie Fund, which simply means the more we do for dogs, the more they do for us, and they already do a lot. Support Rosie Fund by making a donation on our website or Facebook page. You can also contribute by making a purchase from the store on our website, buying a t-shirt at bonfire.com, or buying our note cards featuring Rosie and Peaches and now Maggie. Just click on Shop at rosiefund.org. Another way to support Rosie Fund and create beautiful artwork of a beloved pet is to book a session with Claire Shelley at Bigfoot Pet Photography. For every referral from Rosie Fund, Claire will donate $100 or 10% of the order total, whichever is greater. This does not apply to designated fundraising campaigns like the Pooch Playoffs that already support charities, or to the gift vouchers that Claire donates to the Rosie Life Starter Kits. A link to BigfootPetPhotography.com is in the description. Regardless of how you contribute to Rosie Fund, your generosity helps fund the Rosie Life Starter Kits that make sure senior and harder-to-adopt dogs have some of the items they'll need in their forever home. Please support Rosie Fund by downloading, subscribing, rating, and, most importantly, sharing Dog Words. Follow us on social media, even if you aren't looking for a dog. Liking our posts on Facebook and Instagram, and watching and sharing the videos on our YouTube channel help us gain exposure, bringing awareness to our cause and giving shelter dogs much-needed attention. Our free Rosie Fund YouTube channel offers great videos of Rosie, Peaches, Vinny, Rosie Fund Ambassador Maggie, and shelter dogs looking for their forever home. We welcome your thoughtful and respectful comments, questions, and suggestions, especially if you have an idea for a topic or guest. Go to the podcast page at rosiefund.org to share your thoughts. The mission of Rosie Fund is to provide humans with the resources and education they need to give senior and harder-to-adopt dogs a better life. We thank you for joining our mission. Today on Dog Words, we are joined by Tricia Montgomery from Moose's March. Tricia, welcome to Dog Words.
Philip, thank you for having me. So appreciate this, and excited to be here, and just really looking forward to sharing this journey that and the walk we're on with Mrs. March.
Well, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the history of Rosie Fund, because regular listeners could probably share it in all of its detail. But in learning the story of Moose, with just a couple minor revisions, that's the story of Rosie.
Yeah.
And how much he touched your life, but then his legacy.
Yeah.
That it wasn't just he was special to you, but he inspired you to do so much.
Yeah.
And that's what Rosie did for us. So tell us a little bit about Moose's story.
So first of all, I can feel your love and your passion and what Rosie brought to you. And so I'm thankful that you were able to celebrate her life, and just I'm always so touched by other stories because I look at Moose and I think if I can save one life, then I've done my job. I've honored him. Of course, we want more than that. But I've had many dogs in my lifetime, many dogs. And I I was at Paws Humane Society. I was their CEO, and it was right during the time of the pandemic, and it was my birthday, and it was the worst birthday ever. Let's just put it out there. Uh, Working at an animal welfare organization during the time of the pandemic, you know that it was at a time that we were deemed essential workers and we were working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I happened to be there on a Saturday and I walked to the back and there was this dog sitting there that was skinny. His legs were all cattywampus. And I'm like, oh. And so I called our foster care coordinator and I just said, can I take Moose home with me for my birthday? And she said, well, you're going to have to. I don't care if you're CEO or not. We're going to have you go through the normal procedures of a foster. And I successfully passed. And I brought, at that time, his name was Boss, home with me. And I think we stopped at the store. I got a steak, a bottle, whatever I got. I don't even remember. And he stayed with me through the weekend. And I woke up, I woke up Sunday morning and he was like staring at me with his love in his eyes. And I'm like, oh, don't do that.
That's not fair.
Don't, and he was like this, laying beside me because there is something to be said for sleeping with a dog or your pet. And I am a huge believer in that. And we took a little walk that afternoon. He was heartworm positive, so wanted to make sure we didn't overexercise, but it was just beautiful. And the Monday morning left for Paws at about probably 6:15 in the morning. And I brought him back to, his area, the small dog area, because I wasn't ready. My dog Zeus had passed away of Cushing's disease. And I knew the task in front of me for Paws was super difficult and being on site 24/7. I continued to walk back and forth throughout the day. And by the end of the day, my staff had decided to adopt Boss for me, a boss for a boss, right during the middle of the Bissell Pet Foundation event that we were hosting. And he came home with me. I kept calling him. I'd turn around and I'd call him, I'm like, Zeus. And because that was Zeus's name, was my previous dog. I'm like, and he would look at me, he wouldn't really respond to Boss. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're not a Zeus, but you are a Moose. And everything just in my life changed. He went to work with me every day. We would leave the office for Paws at, I believe, probably 6:30 in the morning. And I'd be on site the entire day. And 7:30 would roll around. We'd still be working. And he would kind of nudge me like, it's time to go, And the community fell in love with him. The staff fell in love with him. He was in my office 24/7. And like the kennel technicians, the volunteers would come in and they would all love on him. They would take him for a walk. They would give him a bath. And he was spoiled. If I would go into a meeting, he would be sitting, like watching for me. I mean, when I say he was my glue, he was my glue. I have had many dogs in my lifetime, but I have never had a dog like Moose. Can't explain it, but I've never had a dog like Moose. And during my time with Moose, we had a very short time together. We had about three years. But my dad had passed away and my mom had passed away. And he was just there through everything. And he changed my life. And I could tell something was wrong with him, but we were making sure, heartworm, that things were there. We were, but I came home from an event and Kennedy was babysitting him because I had been gone for the day, and I came home for an event and I wrapped my arms around him, and she had sent me a message earlier saying, hey, he seems to be a little depressed. He probably just misses you. And, he doesn't seem to be acting himself. And so I'm like, he probably just misses me. And I came home. And you know how you do when you come home, you're like, I love you. I'm just going to squeeze you, Sorry, I'm crying.
Make up for all the hugs that he didn't get for the day.
Correct. And he had 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it just appeared overnight. And then he had one, two, three. And so I've been in the veterinary profession. I started with the Chicago VMA in 1993 as their public education director and then their executive director. So I know veterinarians and I can call people, and I got him in immediately and and talked to Auburn University, and it was stage 4 lymphoma. And there was nothing we could do other than make him comfortable. And he was gone within 2 weeks. And people came over to say goodbye to him. You know, people wanted to love on him. And it was really hard for me to share him, but I knew how important that was to share. Sorry. Oh. And I did. And but he was gone. Philip, I've had so many dogs in my lifetime, but I've never known a grief that I face with Moose. Never have I known a grief like that. And I found myself on the floor, and I didn't want to go on. I didn't want to live. And if anybody, people who know me, I'm always upbeat. I'm always the one with the smile. You know, I find light in things, and I feel that there's so much light and goodness in this world that we're in. That there's so much. If you can spread a smile and kindness, that's really who I am. But I found myself on the floor, and I didn't want to go on, because I think everything that happened in my life with my dad and my mom, and just all the grief and just different things, you know, a divorce, whatever you want to call it, everything came out with Moose. And by the grace of God, my sister Cheryl and some colleagues, we found the Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement. And I have to say, they guided me through this really difficult time. And I'm now on their board of directors because I believe so much in the power of an organization that can provide you guidance and resources and help you through these difficult times, because pet loss is real. It's a real and emotional pain. But what we did was, I realized that I needed to do something to honor Moose. And Moose was not sad. I mean, he was always like this big hunk of, like, he was cattywampus. His legs were cattywampus. He was a hot mess. He had cropped ears. He was just not a pretty dog, but he was so stinking cute. And I thought, I've got to do something. And so I thought, I wanted to create a charity for him, and I wanted to do something related to cancer. And I knew that there are so many beautiful organizations like Live Like Rue, Thorns Promise, Morris Animal Foundation, We Are the Cure. They all do these things for providing financial aid for people that have pets that have cancer. I knew I wanted to be able to stop cancer before it started, or at least provide something to let people start doing something. So I went to VMX, the big veterinary medical show in Orlando in January 23. And I went with a purpose in mind. I was going to find companies and organizations to talk to them about what I was doing. I met with several companies, and one of them just kind of, they're not around anymore, really just kind of blew me off. But Volition veterinarian, Dr. Tom Butera, understood my pain and what I was trying to accomplish. And from there, we have really focused on the early detection of pet cancer. So Moose's March is dedicated to the early detection of pet cancer. We provide free pet cancer tests for pet owners around the country. We even provide subsidized tests. It depends upon the funding. We provide education and awareness. And we also now have just introduced our Moose Approved Badge program. And we are focusing on really beautiful products that are services that help people when their animal has been diagnosed with cancer. And we call it Moose Approved. And we're really trying to educate people about cancer, because we don't talk about it enough, though. We just don't. There's 6 million dogs and 6 million cats diagnosed with pet cancer every year. Every year. Uh, that's a lot. And I think there's what 900 veterinary oncologists in the U.S. So we have to do better. We have to do better.
And that number you give, I just want to make sure our listeners understand, that's not the number of pets that have cancer. That's the number who've been diagnosed. The number who have it is far larger.
Oh, of course.
Because there's so much more that doesn't get detected, and you just lose the pet. They're gone. And maybe something else takes them, you think, because they're weakened by the cancer, and you didn't even know they had it.
Correct. It's hard. I think we were offering pet cancer tests, and I remember somebody reaching out to me, and she said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know that he's got cancer. And I thought about that, and I thought, I can see that, because if you could just live your life that way and live in it, I think that we have to do a better job of talking about it. I think we have to do a better job of educating people. And
it's like having a cavity. It's like, I don't want to go to the dentist because they might tell me I have a cavity. And then I've got to get a filling. And it's like, and what you're actually resisting is the treatment. It's like, I don't want to go through that. It's like, well, eventually you will have to. And the longer you put it off, the worse it will be.
Yeah. I don't think people realize that if it is detected early, there's something you can do. There are treatments available. There are things that you can do, but the number and the uptick of cancer cases have increased tenfold. And whether that's environment, whether that's plastic in our toys, whether it's, all these things that we just don't think about. The age of a pet, the breed of a pet. I think now in golden retrievers, I would say, I believe, and I'll have to check into this, but I believe over 50% of golden retrievers have cancer. 50, because it's just a breed that is known for cancer. Mm-hmm. And some people, even breeders, have said, I can't breed them anymore because they're predisposed to cancer and because something has changed within genetics, maybe overbreeding or whatever it is. But there's things going on here, and we need to take a look at this of what can we do to try and stop cancer before it starts or detect it before it starts.
So multi-pronged effort. Let's stop it before it starts. Let's catch it early enough to treat it. But just the knowledge, even if it's a form of cancer for which there is no treatment at this time, or they're so advanced that all you can do is say goodbye, just knowing so that you can say goodbye on your terms.
On your terms, right.
And not just have them taken from you. So Peaches had cancer. She was the dog we adopted subsequent to Rosie. And she was getting chemotherapy until another form of cancer was found, which could only be treated by surgery, but you can't do the surgery to a dog that's on chemo. Yeah. But if you stop the chemo, then that cancer is going to progress. And so after several months of chemo, it was just, let's give her the best life we can with the time she has left. So that knowledge allowed us to help her continue to live her best life as long as she could. But also, had we not known she had cancer, if either of these other two cancers that we knew of were in her but we're not treating her, the pain that she would have been hiding, because they don't want to show pain. So when it gets to the point where a dog is showing you pain, that means they've had it for quite some time, that they've been living in pain. But knowing she had cancer, we were able to be more sensitive to her reaction to various stimuli. So when it got to the point where I was trying to help her onto a dog bed and she flinched a little bit, and Peaches flinched at nothing. She was fearless. We knew it's time for us to help her pass on. Yeah. But had we not known she had cancer, it would have been, she just tweaked something. She, probably has a slight joint sprain or something. And if this persists, we'll take her to the vet and see if she needs pain medication or something. But knowing it was the cancer allowed us to take the necessary actions to not prolong this or ignore what was happening. So obviously to avoid the cancer in any way that we can by looking for anything that has the moose badge, but also to treat your dog with the compassion that it deserves. And then briefly, Vinny, who we adopted after Peaches, we had him less than a year, and he was a very athletic, energetic boy. And then just one day he started vomiting and shaking, and we took him into emergency care at a hospital here in Kansas City that has an oncology department, which is where Peaches was getting treated. And they found him just riddled with cancer. And that was his last day. We had to let him go that day. So even if we'd have known weeks earlier or months earlier, there was very little that could have been done. And of course, we were already giving him the best life that we could, but there was probably some suffering there that could have been avoided for him. So I just wanted to share that for our listeners.
No.
Tell me more about, Moose's, the badge. Tell us how that works and how pet lovers can capitalize on the hard work that you and your colleagues are doing.
Yeah, first of all, if you don't mind, I just want to touch upon something here. So I really want to talk about that there are things that we can do from a perspective, even from a wellness examination. They're non-invasive cancer screenings. It's via a simple blood test, and they can detect potential cancer even before the symptoms start through biomarkers. And that is something that is available. And so I think that's something to say. And I think I also want to talk about from a standpoint of preventive care and early screening, that just rely on your veterinarian and how really super important that is. And there are dogs that are at high risk. And so, we can talk a little bit more about that, but the ability and the knowledge of education and having that available, don't wait. That's something that's so important.
You have a responsibility.
We do. And we do as pet owners. And we just want to make sure that we can really just give them everything that they need and the love that they need. So, sorry, to this day, and just like you, it is hard to talk about those that we lost, but you have to realize that through the grief comes goodness. And I think that's what I'm really focusing on. We decided to do something for really from a consumer standpoint and for pet parents, is that we want to let people know that there are things that they can do on their own that really help, but also from a standpoint, these products can support in the wellness journey for their pets. And so whether it's made with clean ingredients, we wanted to make sure that they had, with Moose in mind. So we have like clean and clear products. We have like wellness warriors. And so we're working with a variety of organizations right now that are going to be Moose approved. And so it'll be a badge that organizations will feature on their website. We're not making any money from it, but it's something that we really just wanted to make sure that people knew that there are products that may be better for their pups and the importance of that. It's kind
of like the Better Business Bureau or Consumer Reports. This is an objective endorsement that you see that label.
Yeah.
And it means something.
It does. It means something, and it's Moose approved, and it is approved by our board, by our team. We look at all the products that are submitted, and we're just getting it started. We have several that are being introduced, but we're really excited about that. And from a standpoint, I do want to address on this because we talked about this earlier. WeAreTheCure.org came out with a really beautiful report, and it talked about the toxins that cause cancer that we really don't even consider just in normal things that we're giving to our dogs. So say you've got, I'm just going to show this. Say you've got a little, a toy here and it's got something on it. So what we don't think about is this has dyes in it. It has maybe,
yeah, you're holding a plushie that's like a puffin.
A plush, yeah, a puffin plushie. So we don't think about that from the standpoint that this has got dyes in it. These dyes have toxins in them, and that can cause cancer. So randomly, I see people take a plastic bottle, they unwrap the plastic from the Dasani bottle of water, don't want to give them a plug or anything, and they throw the bottle to their puppy or their dog because they love it, crackling the things in their, in their teeth, and it's fun, occupies their dog for a little bit of time. Those plastics have toxins in them. They have toxins in them. And we don't think about that because when they ingest those toxins, they stay within their system. They may not pass through. There are different bones that are plastic that we routinely give to our pets all the time. And we don't think about them. We need to choose products that are sustainable and good for our pups, which are in turn good for the environment as well. I mean, Dr. Sue Ettinger, who's known as Dr. Sue Cancer, she had a really beautiful report that just came out, and it started talking about even secondhand smoke. The things that we know as humans that are not good for us, they're not good for our dogs. I mean, all these things are just coming out. The environment, the different things that's going on with pollutions or anything like that. These are also impacting our dogs. So what we're striving to do, really aiming to do, is to show, at least do our parts. We can't change the environment. I can't, magically, but what I can do is try and educate people that there are products out there that might be clean and clear. There are products out there that might be good nutritionally for your pet. There may be, bones or chew toys that may be better for them on a whole, that would actually help them out and be free of anything that may cause cancer, if that makes sense to you.
Dog food, dog toys, all kinds of pet accessories are not regulated at the level that human ones are, and humans get food and toys and accessories that have carcinogens. So if the level of stuff that we accept is even more guarded than what it is for animals, just imagine what's passing through to them. And I don't say this to call for more regulation, because I'm not someone who supports that sort of centralized control, because it can be more easily manipulated when it goes through a process that involves lobbyists, special interest groups. And there's countless examples of something that is claimed to be safe or approved for the public, but then when you drill down on it and find, well, who wrote this legislation or who wrote this regulatory recommendation? And it wasn't some sort of, unbiased group or objective researcher. It was, who
funded
by the nonprofit arm of this group that has a very vested interest in preserving their product or service.
I get it. I know what to call it.
Or they pay, enough political contributions to get the votes they need to pass the legislation that goes to the regular. So without getting too political, I heartily endorse grassroots organizations like yours that are transparent. That I don't like the metaphor that relates to dog fighting, but it is on some level, this is apt to say, you have a dog in the fight.
We do. We do. And it's personal. And I want to honor Moose as it's just my way, our way of doing something that gives back. And if another dog might be saved alive, another person might have one more day. If I had one more day, what I would have done. If I would have had two more days, what I could have done. If I would have known early. And I think also when you think about this, the guilt. I mean, Philip, let's talk about the guilt.
Yes.
That if I had known early, Could I have done more? I call them the coulda, shoulda, woulda brothers and their cousin if only. If I could have done something, if I would have known, but I didn't know. You didn't know. And just to go back to your point about some of the things it is the Wild West. I mean, I've been in the veterinary profession since 1993 at the Chicago VMA, and then going on as their executive director. I've been involved in the pet industry and animal welfare. I have kind of that trifecta knowledge. But I also know there are things that are not regulated right now from a standpoint. And then when companies or organizations they start the regulation process, like you were saying, that it becomes this larger thing to where who's really funding that? I mean, is it a big organization that may have control of other things like food companies and things like that? They're all intertwined. And I think we're the small guy and we're just saying, hey, pay attention, just pay attention. And if there's something that we can do to let people know, whether it's something that provides, if your pet has been diagnosed with cancer, and if we call them feel good favorites, and if there's something like a bed or something orthopedic that may help out with that, if it's clean and clear nutrition, which is one of our badges, that that whether it's an organization that might have a beautiful product for food that might be, that helps out with cancer. There's so many beautiful things out there. And what we're trying to do is really hone that down and show people, hey, there's a resource. You can go to our website and you can click on this link, and you're going to be able to see the products that we have available right now. And that list is only going to grow as we get this more kicked off and get off the ground.
In the description of this podcast episode, there will be links to every website that you've mentioned. But of particular note, moosesmarch.com, it shows each of the badges with a clear explanation of the Cancer-Free Comfort badge, the Feel Good Favorite badge, the Clean and Clear Nutrition badge, and the Wellness Warrior badge, so that someone can see, here's how the system works. But also, you can apply for a badge. So any vendors out there, you make dog treats, you make dog toys, whatever it is, something that you offer for recovery or immunity or just general wellness, fill out the form, get a badge. And if you don't get the badge, take a look in the mirror and see what you need to do differently to earn the badge. Yeah. And let's get this rolling so that when you market a product, you can use the claim Moose approved. Moose approved. And then your competition that's not Moose approved has to step up their game.
I love you, Phil. I
get their badge.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, wait, we're not Moose approved. Why isn't our... Call the folks down in marketing and ask them why our stuff's not Moose approved.
Exactly. What we want to do is make sure that we work with every organization, and see what can we do together and begin rowing in the right direction to stop cancer before it starts. What can we do? We're not a regulator. We're just going to say, hey, we by these standards, we believe that this is a Moose approved, that this is something that is going to be valuable for your pet, or something that is going to be something that is not going to cause cancer, and stop the cancer before it starts.
I am obviously 100% in support of what you're doing, and you and the wonderful Moose are perfect examples of the Rosie Fund motto, we save each other, what he did for you and what you did for him, and how his legacy lives on.
It does. It does. It has just been my honor to be with you today. Although emotional, I want people to know how much Moose, Rosie, Peaches, every pup has meant to us, because everyone is touched by cancer. Cancer is not exclusive. It's just not. I mean, whether human or pet, everyone has been touched by cancer. I also want to say just very quickly here that right now, they are working on a feline cancer test. It is in the peer-reviewed stage right now, and we're hoping that comes on soon. probably, I would say, by about 2026, maybe, is what we're hoping for. Right now, there are cancer screenings for dogs, early detection tests for dogs, not for cats. But we love our cats. We love them. But right now, there is not a cancer test. So the only thing that you really can do, I encourage people, similar to us as humans, whether it's a breast self-examination, whether it's, anything that we do as humans to ourselves, or prostate for men, that do the same thing for your pets. Look for signs of lumps, bumps, things, lethargy, vomiting, things that just are out of the norm, and check those out. Because if you recognize the warning signs, then you're going to be able to find out sooner. So continue to be vigilant about screening for cancer and doing your own self-examination on your pup. And if you see something, contact your veterinarian. They're your best friend through this journey. They're your partner. And just don't let it go undetected, because as you said, oftentimes we think, they're just getting older. They might have slipped. They did this, they did that. And it could be leading up to, an osteosarcoma or even a hemangiosarcoma, where really dogs can't recover from. They just can't. So I think for your pet parents out there in that audience, that listening audience, we're going to provide links from a standpoint of what to look for from an early detection standpoint. But make sure you're checking in advance, and that early detection is so important.
And if you have a dog companion, again, moosesmarch.com, just click on Get Help.
Get help.
And there's a link for the requesting your early detection test. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm pretty sure you have internet access. So there's no excuse that I don't have time to make an appointment to go to the vet. Or my vet's too far away or too busy. You just need to go to moosesmarch.com, click on Get Help, and go from there. Tricia Montgomery, I am so thrilled that you not only are doing what you're doing, but you also made time to share that with Dog Words so that we can spread the word about early cancer detection and Moose's March. And hey, people, look for those badges.
Absolutely. An honor being here with you, Philip. Thank you so much for having me. Moose and I are just appreciative, and he's looking down on us right now and smiling.
Oh, I know he is. Probably sitting next to Rosie, Peaches, and Vinny.
Yeah.
I'm Phil Hatterman, and you've been listening to Dog Words, presented by Rosie Fund. All the links referenced in our discussion are in the episode description as promised. If any of the links we provide either do not work or fail to appear in the description, that is likely due to the limitations of the podcast platform that you're using. If you have difficulty, go to our podcast page at rosiefund.org for a fully functioning description and access to the entire Dog Words archive. Please visit BigfootPetPhotography.com to learn more about preserving precious memories of your beloved pet. All those photos on your phone provide quantity, but years from now, you'll treasure the quality that's been captured with your Bigfoot pet photography session. A big thank you to alternative string duo The Wires, featuring cellist Sasha Groshong and violinist Laurel Morgan Parks, for playing the wonderful music you've heard on today's and previous episodes of Dog Words. Supporting The Wires supports our mission. Learn more about The Wires, including their concert schedule, at thewires.info, and download their music on iTunes. Check out fiddlelife.com and learn to play fiddle and cello fiddle online from Laurel and Sasha, even if you've never played before. Go to rosiefund.org to shop and get links to our social media. As always, please download, follow, rate, and share Dog Words. This helps us with sponsorships, and then Rosie Fund can help more dogs. Send us your comments, questions, and suggestions via the contact form at rosiefund.org, and let us know if you would like to be a sponsor or a guest of the Dog Words podcast. Thank you for listening.